Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Tonight we're checking out a 2022 INFINITI QX80 at night. So this video focuses on the interior and exterior lighting of the vehicle. Check my channel for the full overview. It's a separate video. When the vehicle's locked and you approach it with the key, it senses the key at a certain point and starts to turn some lights on. So we have this very bright LED. It's flickering because of the camera, but really nice LED like approach light that's underneath the vehicle. It's kind of like more underneath the vehicle than usable outside of it, but the interior lights turn on, and then you have this light right here and it quickly turns off. So it's like not super duper convenient when it turns off quickly. But let me go ahead and unlock the door. So when we unlock the door, now it's going to hopefully stay on longer. We have this light here that shines on the ground. It's an approach light, which is nice. And some of the exterior lights are now on. But the approach light and the unlocking the doors, they don't leave, the lights don't turn on and stay on very long. So you pretty much have to be ready to get in the car. Otherwise, they just turn right back off. So that's a little bit inconvenient for a convenience feature. When you have the headlight switch to the off position and the vehicle's running, you still have these super bright LED lights. I mean, they are blasting out the camera and my eyes, and they could definitely be mistaken as headlights even though they're not. So let me turn the brightness down because this is pretty ridiculous how bright these are. With the headlight switch off, we still have these very bright. They look really nice though. Really nice bright white LEDs, but I have the brightness down quite a bit so we can see them. Otherwise they just blast out the camera as if they're headlights. And that's what the front of the vehicle looks like right now. Without the headlights on, just those lights. With the headlight switch to the off position, you can mistake those as headlights. And keep in mind, the tail lights are not on. You know, this is a safety issue if you get that confused. Turn on the parking lights and it's basically back to the very bright LEDs. It just adds this little side marker here in the front. So I'm going to adjust the brightness down. It's an amber side marker here in the front that adds in, and that's it here in the front. But now that I have the parking lights on, the tail lights are now illuminated, and they are red in color. Camera kind of makes them look a little orangey, but they are red, nice, bright, and it's like a glow color, like a glow effect. And I'm going to adjust the brightness down. Oh, wrong way. All right, there we go. So you can see, still makes them look red, but I mean orange, but they are a nice deep red. Very impressive looking, and the tag lights are also on, so that kind of helps illuminate behind the vehicle, kind of like approach lights. The turn signal here on the front's amber, and it basically takes that super bright white LED light, turns it to amber, and like doubles the brightness. So it's a nice, really bright, easy to see amber turn signal here in the front. So there's no mistaking that. It's nice bright amber. Once again, turning the brightness down so we can actually see it, because my eyes are blasting, so the camera has to do the job here. All right, also there's an amber side marker here. This is actually the turn signal indicator. Here on the side mirror, it's amber in color. You can see it from the front, the side, and the back. And then the tail light, this is actually a standard bulb, so it's not even an LED, and look how low it is. It is amber in color, but the camera makes it look red. It's weird. But it is definitely amber, and it's in this super low position, so that can easily be obscured by other traffic on the road. So, but it's a good thing it has that turn signal indicator on the side mirror to help out with that. But still, you know, having it that low position doesn't make any sense. It could easily have put it in with the taillights and just had an amber color. Okay, so there's those bright lights. Let's go ahead and turn on the headlights. You see the difference there. You can see the headlights are quite a bit brighter, even though those other ones are bright. You can see that gives you a greater distance there. So that's the low beams. And the high beams are right there. So the low and high beams there. And when you turn on the high beams, the fog lights turn off. But let's go ahead and look at the low beams and fog lights here. So the low beams are an LED and a projector, and then the fog lights are down here, and they are in a reflector. So let me turn the brightness down because it's blasting out my eyes and the camera. All right, so right in there, you can see it's a multi-reflector for the fog light, and then you have a projector here. And these lights here are now dimmer. It's kind of more like an accent light now. And then the headlight there is on, and it's a projector. You see what it looks like there, and when I dip down, it has a clear cutoff. And we'll see it going down the road so you can see what I'm talking about, but you can see it get bright as I dip down. So now I have the high beams on, and it basically just adds this inner portion, which is a reflector, to the low beams. So let me turn the brightness down. You can see the low beams are on, and then now there's this reflector light there in the center part, which is your high beams. So it gives us a higher position here. So you can see as I dip down, you can see the inner light shines on the camera first, and then as I go down more, there is all of them basically join in, and it's the full lights of the vehicle. So low and high beams kind of work together. The inside of the cargo area is not really that great. It has this one single light here to share for the third row and also the cargo area. And when the seats are reclined like they are now, it just casts a big shadow here. So I had the camera brightness really bright, and you know, all in here is completely dark. I mean, very hard to see in here, especially with the black interior. But it does have these accent lights, which look pretty cool, and they provide a slight amount of light as well. But yeah, the cargo area, not very good. They did backlit the button to close the power liftgate though. So when you close the power hatch there, the third row is completely dark because that light turns off. So the cargo light kind of spills into this third row, but basically there's no light back here when you open when all the interior lights are on. Like when you open the door and the interior lights are on, there's no lights there in the back, completely dark. Even the power button to adjust the seats and stuff is all dark, just nothing back there. The inside of the rear door does have a puddle light here, and it also has a illuminated sill plate there, a little light for finding the power window, and it has a little tiny light right here. I don't know if you can see that, kind of shining down right in here. Very, very, very dim, but it is a nice little add to the touch. A little bit of just, you know, just accent lighting, I guess. It's pretty nice. Okay, so the back seats, they have a light from on either side, not very bright, and they illuminate this area halfway decent, I guess, kind of give it a softer light. All the compartments here, all these compartments here, there, even in the front there, all these are completely dark, and you can't see in them. Even with the interior lights on, you just can't see. It's just completely dark. You do have some backlit buttons here for the climate control and the heated seats, but then you have some stuff down here that's completely dark right here. Power inverter, power supply is all dark right in there. And then you have the USB ports are dark here and here. There is a tiny little bit of light coming from underneath the seat, but that quickly goes out as soon as you shut the door or turn off the interior lights. The inside of the front door does have the puddle light here, illuminates the ground. And you notice those lights that were on before underneath the vehicle, those approach type lights are off now. I'm surprised they don't, you know, they're not usable when the vehicle's running and stuff like that, so you can enter and exit. But anyways, there is some backlit buttons there. That very soft light that I was talking about, and I'll show you that more when we get in the inside. These buttons for the presets for the seat are dark. And then the sill plate is illuminated, looking pretty cool. Floorboard is illuminated right now because I have the door open, but that quickly goes off as soon as I shut the door. And the interior lights here are provided by these little tiny lights here in the middle, and then those lights back there. And as you can see, no lights in the far back. until you open up the hatch, and then that light comes on and it's obscured by the seat anyway. I have the door open, sitting in the driver's seat. Interior lights are on, so you can see what it looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and shut the door. Now the interior lights fade out. Now we're left with the backlit buttons. You can see there to the left of the steering column, it has the backlit buttons. And right in here is that light I was talking about. It's kind of dim, so you have to be in a really dark spot to see it. But right in here, it kind of illuminates these buttons, even though they're backlit. But it's a nice little touch there. But the rest of the door you can see is dark. The floorboard is dark. Steering wheel has all backlit buttons, which is nice. So the gauges are kind of bright, so let's go ahead and adjust the brightness here. So we have down, so let's go ahead and adjust it down. We'll go ahead and adjust it all the way down so we can see what it looks like, the full thing. Wow, you can actually turn them completely off, and it turns all these buttons off too. I'm gonna bring it back up. So the gauges and all the backlit buttons basically adjust in the same way. Buttons here in that screen. Okay, so now you see there's the start button, and then climate control, the radio, touch screen. Go ahead and turn on the camera so you can see that. Let's go ahead and look at the map. It's in dark mode now. I like the way these dials have these little rings around them, looking pretty cool. The rear view camera is really nice, and it has the HomeLink garage door opener controls there, and then the adjustments, the brightness and the adjustments there for the rear view camera. Okay, so now there is a little bit of a light right here. It's kind of hard to tell, but there is a light right here coming from this top area, right in there, and it kind of illuminates this area just slightly, like a little bit of moonlight here in this area. Then you have some tap lights there, reading lights. You're getting a little bit ahead of the situation, but I'm going to show you a few things up here while we're looking at it. There's a light right there. So down in here, there's like these dark spots. So turning on the interior lights, you can see what I'm talking about. This area right here, this opens up, and there's a dark spot. That's where you charge your phone in here. And then there is some backlit illuminated USB ports there, but this is dark. Even with the interior lights on, you can't even see in there. Cup holders have a very kind of dim light there at the bottom, but it's nice because when you put in like a water bottle or something, and it kind of illuminates the water in there. But when you put a regular cup like this, it doesn't really do too much, but it is pretty neat. Backlit buttons there and here. This center console is completely dark, so that's why I leave the interior lights on. Even with the interior lights on, which they're all on right now, all the interior lights are on. You can't see in here. There is a backlit button there for the power inverter, but there's like stuff in this compartment you can't even see. So let me turn the camera brightness like super blasting so you can see what I'm talking about. There's like no light in there whatsoever. Even the interior lights don't even shine. So I have to like super blast out the camera in order for you to even see in there. Like with my eyes, I can't see anything. It's crazy. Crazy that you would have a compartment, a main compartment right here, to where even with the interior lights on, you can't even see in there. And they don't even bother to put a light in there or anything. Very strange. Glove compartment, shockingly, does have a light in it. Now the floorboard is illuminated when you turn on the interior lights, but when you turn off the interior lights, that light goes out. Which is nice that does have that illumination there when you have the interior lights on. So if you're looking to drop something in the floor or something like that, it's nice to see down there. But it'd be nice if it had a little soft glow when you had the interior lights off. Now when I look back up here, and remember this little light right here, it shines down, and the emergency button right there, and then you have the interior lights here and here. The only way I can push those buttons because I know right where they're at. Because none of these are backlit. None of these are backlit. So the only time in which you would want to turn on the interior lights is because it's dark, right? So the fact that the light, the button to turn on the interior lights is completely dark, obviously they understand what backlit buttons are because they have them everywhere. They even have power up here because they have this light right here. But to not have a backlit button on the actual button to turn on the interior lights is completely ridiculous to me. So there's a button to turn on the interior lights. The only time you would want to use that button is when it's dark because you can't see. You need to turn on the lights. How are you going to find the button? You have to know right where that button is. So completely ridiculous to have that not backlit. All of these should be backlit. It doesn't make any sense. So there's a clear cutoff you can see there in the trees or the bushes or whatever. And so it looks like against this fence. And you can see they move as well. As you can see, it's active bending. You do have to be going forward a little bit for them to move. But you can see there's the cutoff there on the fence. There's the high beams. There's the low beams. Now I have the automatic high beams on, and when I turn the automatic high beams on, it basically turns off the fog lights in preparation for the high beams to be on. So I'm going to just leave it on low beams for a second so we can see both. Because it does do a good job of illuminating the ground close to the vehicle, the fog lights. Nice bright turn signals, in the front anyway. Okay, so you can see that cutoff. The intention is to not blind other drivers, but as you can tell, it kind of goes up and down depending on, you know, your aim of your vehicle on different heights, surfaces. So, you know, it's kind of going up and down, and so as I go up, that line goes up. It has a little bit of a lower cutoff on the oncoming traffic lane. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. It's a little bit darker, a little bit lower on the oncoming traffic lane. So it helps with accommodating, you know, for different angles of the vehicle. But the movement of the headlights left and right doesn't seem like it helps out a lot. It's more like a gimmick to me. Maybe you can explain it if you have an experience with it in which it seems necessary, but it just seems like it doesn't really do a whole lot. The headlights are fine without it. So I'm going to go slow, let that vehicle go on ahead so we can test out the high beams in this dark area right here. So far right here is looking pretty nice, really nice on the sides. The road is pretty evenly distributed as far as the light, but part of that is the fog lights. I'll turn those off now. So there's the fog lights off, still looking really nice. So put the automatic high beams on now. And hopefully we'll be able to turn them on in a second. Yeah, there we go. And then a car comes. Well, we'll just keep on going and see what happens. Yeah, Yeah, with the low beam still looking good. Okay, so right there, high beams, we can see the trees in the distance. We can see a very good distance with the height of the vehicle, the evenly distributed, and also the combination of projector and reflectors there does a really good job. So the headlights are really impressive. The distance is fantastic because of the height, partially. And there's not a lot of, it's not as patchy as I thought it might be with the combination of the projector and reflector. It actually does pretty good. And the high beams, the automatic high beams, seems to be working so far. It's not like flashing and stuff. It's just being conservative in it when it dims. Yeah, high beams right there, you can see really good.